All right. Welcome to the broadcast. Welcome. I am so sorry that I'm a little late. Hopefully you can hear me okay. I'm going to lower the music a little bit, and I'm going to come on over here in a second and say hi, giving a lot more people a chance to come on in. Hello, everybody. It's Friday. It's time for a little tea. And I don't mean the gossiping internet ridiculous kind. I'm talking about things that are, I think they're important. Okay, so I'm Jacob Israel. Welcome to the show if you're new. This is the live stream. Hopefully you can hear me okay. I like it when you leave me a little note and you say, Jacob, we hear you good. You don't sound like you're a robot. Sometimes the broadcast is interrupted because I have, not the best setup, I guess. I'm working on it. We're working on a whole new studio. We're going to be coming to you in a different area completely. Uranus is a planet. Thank you. Yes, that's the mug if you want to support the channel. That's all the merch I have to begin with. But clear and picture and sound. Thank you. Okay, so I can get into the show. Now. I hope you're buckled up because this is an interesting one. Guess what? This one started, go figure, right? There's a lot of stuff in the news. There's a lot of stuff you're not aware of. There's a lot of stuff I had to do some digging, the Darpa website and other things. There's big sightings going on. People are seeing orbs everywhere. Woo! Congress is being debriefed by the Pentagon about UFOs. UFOs are everywhere on the Joe Rogan podcast 2 days in a row. There's a reason for it. There is. And all of this is, I'm going to take you on a little ride into my life over the last, week or so. Because before this was something that you all saw and you came to watch, there's that famous picture in the upper left-hand corner of the UFO. Remember we heard about that, I think it was in 2004. A lot of other ones. Joe Rogan talking about the tic-tac. They described it as a tic-tac. UFOs under the water, UFOs up in the sky, UFOs all over the place, different radio signals and crazy asteroids and telescopes going down and all sorts of wobble to the universe. There's so much crazy stuff. Or is there nothing crazy going on? We're just being told all this, so we all think that we're a little kooky. This show is something else. So let me start off by telling you what happened. Monday night, okay? I have this terrible, weird dream. Yes, we're talking about dreams. But the dream that I'm going to share is, I don't think it's anything like, I'm not going to come on here and say, the Lord gave me a dream, right? Everything that we experience in life, I believe, is given to us by the Lord, if you will. That word Lord means the existing one, the one who exists, the creator of all, if you will. So I had this dream. And in the dream, a lot of people like to talk about aliens and angels and demons, and this is an interesting conspiracy topic, and a lot of people are very fascinated by it. And that's why this show is going to make you think. And I don't know if you saw at the end of the title, I said something, beware the leaven. That comes from a passage in the book of Matthew and other places where Jesus had said, beware the leaven of the Pharisees. We're going to get into that too. And that's the best part because there's a lot of leaven going on. And it looks like I'm frozen up. So I'm going to show you this little text that I had, okay? Because that is what happened. So I have this terrible dream. And in the dream, as you can see right there, in the dream, I saw these, it looked like angels descending. This is a text, by the way, that I sent to my buddy Bear. I only show you this text so that there is some, I'm not making up stories. So I'm not saying to you, yes, I had this dream and then all the stuff about the orbs comes out and you're like, yeah, well, where's the proof that you had the dream, right? Where's the proof that you had the dream, Jacob? You have all the things with the angels and the orbs and the blah, blah, blah. I'm back, right? Because it froze up for a second there. I'm getting better at this. I'm getting better at changing cameras and stuff. I have this dream. And in the dream, I'm standing on this roof, as I said in the text, you can see right there. And it looked like there were these angels descending, okay? I saw like 3 of them, if I remember correctly. And one of them in particular, and they looked like Christmas ornaments. You know, like they were like cutouts. It was like almost a child's drawing, and it was glowing. It didn't look very real. It looked ornamental. And that's why I said everybody was looking up thinking, oh, these are our saviors, if you will. And I'm like, no, they're like ornaments. And then they came through the clouds, and they were all these like little orbs. And for some reason, I like reached out and I grabbed one and I looked at it, and it was like an insect. It was weird. It was like this alien insect driving these orbs. And then the next thing you see is just looked like devastation. Now they were covered in this dark orange dust, like the soil of Mars, I said. This is the text I said. It never was delivered, which is probably a good thing, because Bear wouldn't think I was nutty. A lot of my friends, actually KJ, I talked to him about this scariest movie ever. You gotta check out his channel too. He's awesome. I was talking to him about this dream too, and the irony is, like right after I had this dream about these orbs, and I tell Danielle, and I go, this is just interesting. Now I'm not saying, by the way, look, I'm not a kookadoo, all right? I'm just sharing that I had a dream. It's coincidental. So it then gets me thinking about orbs, right? Makes me thinking about orbs. And then I get this text from somebody saying that there were these orbs sighted in New York. It was like a New York Post article, and I think, oh, that's convenient. I just have this weird dream, and now orbs are showing up, I guess, in New York. Tried tracking the article down. I tried tracking the email down. I have so many emails. I don't know. Somebody sent it to me, whoever you were. Thank you, because then it got me thinking a little bit more. Then that night, the next night, now this is Tuesday, okay? So, I was working on my, I was working probably on the getting the show to you. And needless to say, I end up having, I come home after finishing the show and I'm relaxing, and I end up like having one of those moments where it's like, I want to rent a movie. And I don't know what to watch, I wasn't really thinking of aliens. I see this really cool title, and it's called Captive State. And it just looked cool, right? Now, I didn't see if you look on the left-hand side, I didn't see that poster. On cable, yeah, I'm still one of the people that has cable, believe it or not. Yeah, I just had the package. Hopefully the internet's working well. How many people, let me go to the chat, make sure that I'm still on okay. Holy mackerel, I come on over here and I see somebody, Rachel Byers, $300, really? That's insane. And Catherine, $25, it's just, it's too much. Red Monarch, thank you so much. Jacob, I'm new to your chat. I think you're awesome. I'm Jewish. My name is Rachel. Hey, Rachel, hang on a second. Let me come on over here. Rachel's the name of Jacob Israel's wife. It was the one that Jacob wanted to marry. The one that, actually, it was his first kiss, really, and it was by a well. A little interesting story. Now, my wife is the Danielle, who I love more than anything, right? But interesting story. The first girl that I ever kissed, yeah, like on the cheek, it was right next to a well. Her name was Rachel. And poor thing, she was an artist. She actually passed away. There's drugs. It's a terrible thing. It's a terrible thing. And she was just this amazing artist. It's like one of those things, junior high school. But that was like my first kiss, and it was by a well, too. I think that's an interesting coincidence. Needless to say, thank you very much, everybody in the Super Chat. Thank you for everybody that does. Sometimes I miss when you leave me these little notes, and I apologize because I'm going back and forth. But let me flip over here again. How many people heard of this movie? Anybody hear of this movie? And let me read what Red Marduk is. Love is all that matters in these end times, brother. Love you and your work. Very positive. Thank you, Red. It's very true. Love is like the most important thing. So this is the deal. And wow, my goodness, a lot of people are watching all of a sudden. So you know what? Why don't you stop for a second, hit the X on your little iPhone, and then just hit the like button. It's important. Leave a little comment because it helps this channel to reach more people. You didn't miss much, Tina Root. Thank you for coming. Brian, hello. Sniper Bear, Third Eye Boy, hello. Michael, hi to everybody. You didn't miss much. I had a dream. It was about orbs. It was about angels at first. That it was everybody thought that these were the saviors, but it turns out they were like these insects, these little tiny bugs. They were like small. They were like this. And the orb was like this big, but I guess super intelligent. And then the next thing I see is like all this fire and devastation. And I'm not saying I think anything bad's going to happen. I'm going to talk about that place and all the stuff that's going on in the world at large, where Trump just pulled back on something. I'm going to be talking that at the end of the show because there is, believe it or not, a tie-in to all this interesting UFO stuff. So I have this dream. I get a text the next morning about these mysterious orbs over New York, because I'm from New York. And then after doing the show on Tuesday, this was the text that I had sent out, as I had said earlier. I come home and I watch this movie. Now, this movie, by the way, which happens to be about an alien invasion, that they think they are like the angels or the saviors, which is weird. I actually talked to KJ about this just a couple of nights ago. I think he's doing a show on this. Like, we watched it at the same time, so he brings this up, and I'm like, you don't even know, dude, all the weird stuff that's been going on with me in the dreams and the boopity-boopity-boops. They call these aliens in this movie, by the way, they call them bugs. That's what they are. They're like bugs. That's a picture. By the way, good movie. I liked it. I thought it was a good movie and a dystopian tale, and definitely the timing is right. And that's kind of like their shape-shifting armor and like astronaut suit, I guess. But, once again, just an interesting coincidence, I think. No big deal. I'm not gonna do a show. I mean, I'm like a serious guy, right? I'm not gonna come on here and I talk about spiritual things, important things. People used to consider me to be a theologian, right? I'm an award-winning TV writer. I'm not going to talk about aliens and all that. Doesn't matter that the very first video that ever went viral on my channel, I've been on here since 2008, stemmed from a dream that I had about Planet X, Nibiru. Weird, right? How that takes off. And here we are yet again. So I'm making light, obviously. If they're aliens, great. If they're angels, whatever. If they're demons, whatever. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, I'm kind of more focused on what it all means. And I think that there is an interesting thing that you need to be paying attention to, because it all kind of like is starting to come together at a very interesting point in our future, because things are going to get weird, right? So orbs. Then all of a sudden, look what happens. Boom. A wave of sightings over Kansas City. Anybody hear about this? I'm not sure if anybody heard about the Kansas City orbs. I'm going to come on over to the chat and I'm going to see. Man, it's so crazy, right? Interesting. Okay, some of you have seen it. None of you have heard. Joey Bricks, thank you very much. Thank you, Cynthia. Blessings to you as well. Joey Bricks. I love your name. Love your name too, Cynthia. Don't feel left out. Okay, so you're in Kansas City. Brian, did you hear about that? Brian Messick says that he is in Kansas City right now. Did you see it? That would be even cooler. Trav Wayne says JK is a Gnostic. I don't know who JK is, but I'm not a Gnostic either. I'm JI. I'm not a Gnostic. So it's creepy. Okay, so they saw these orbs. There's already kind of a story out about it. But this was a big deal. Like, a lot of people were freaked out by it. They didn't understand. Now, this is not the first place to get the orbs, okay? But this was kind of big news. And you see right beneath the big headline there, mystery orbs over Kansas City freak everyone out. You see kind of a briefing going on there, right? Well, we're going to talk about that too, because that's the Pentagon. The Pentagon, they're debriefing on the UFOs. Congress needs to know. Congress is making like a deal. They're like, this is serious stuff. If you got things flying around, you got pilots and a thing, this is serious stuff. Look, Trump got the Space Force. By the way, Trump, more coincidence. Let me see if I could pull this up. Charlie, my buddy Charlie, I talked about him in the last video. He sends me this. Just take a look at it. Trump says he doesn't particularly believe in UFOs. Now, once again, it's like Charlie doesn't even know I'm working on this stuff. So this is like, these are what I consider to be more, the confirmation. Interesting confirmation. So these mystery orbs, freaked some people out. They didn't really know what to do with it. I mean, I wouldn't know. Now, here's the weird thing. I saw, and my whole family, we were out last week, and we were by the pool, and this was, I saw something we thought was maybe like a weather balloon or something, but it was an orb. It was a big orb, and it was high up, and it was kind of like just staying where it was. And I went so far as I broke out my telescope, and I was trying to, lock in on it. I caught it like once, and then it moved, and it's just weird. So, I mean, Noah, my oldest, he's like, it's a balloon. It's probably a balloon. I'm going, it's pretty far away. I don't know how I'm seeing that little teeny balloon. Could be one of those balloons, but yeah, I just think it was strange that here I saw something. The whole family were like, "Whoa, what the heck?" It's kind of hard to see past all of the, the stuff that they're lacing the sky with, which is just so annoying on Long Island because we have this beautiful, beautiful skies, and in the morning and then towards around noon we just start seeing one plane after another. It's ridiculous. It just gets to be a little bit too much. So the Weather Service, they said, look, there were a lot of people were kind of just commenting, calling in, saying what's going on. They said we have no idea because they were thinking maybe they're weather balloons, and they're like, no, we don't have any clue about any of this stuff. And then the news came out that it was this, Darpa. Darpa launched these 3 balloons from Cumberland. Now that was a couple of nights earlier in Maryland. Now this just kind of showed up. I went to the website to read about these, which are pretty interesting. They're called Adaptable Lighter Than Air. And the goal is, to develop and demonstrate a high-altitude, lighter-than-air vehicle capable of wooden-borne navigation over extended ranges. The balloons can fly. So basically, the news is that's probably what they were. But it doesn't explain the balloons, if they're balloons, over some of the other places where things have been showing up. It's really strange. I mean, it's not just back in Spain. You had mysterious orbs rising out of the large hole. That's Mysterious Universe, by the way. I like their website. They got some interesting stuff. I had no idea what this was. And that's not the only one. Orbs are pretty much everywhere. Orbs. I had an orb flying in my house. Yeah, remember that? I did a video. So am I being punked or haunted with something? I think it was dust or a fly or something else, but a lot of people think that there was a ghoul after me, an interdimensional being, some people said. Go back and see if you could find that. You're going to have to go and look through my videos to find it. I think it's am I being haunted or something? But it was definitely an orb, and it was weird because it was my footage. But Congress is taking this seriously. They're not joking around about this. This is something that they're taking very seriously, and this is within just the last day or two. This is not something that's been going on for a while. So remember in 2004, we heard all about the Navy pilots, right? The encounter was examined by the Pentagon, and then we found out that there's been a secret program that was supposedly shut down. It's been in operation for a long time. Millions of dollars go into this. It's kind of a big deal. They said it was $22 million for the intelligence program, but we know they did more. Men in Black is out. Men in Black is out, right? In the movie theaters. Timing is always just such a cool thing. Men in Black just came out. I mean, it was this Friday. So you have all of this last week. All of this stuff. It's just very cool. Something that I'm going to ask you about in a little while. They're taking it seriously. They want to know. According to Political, an increasing number of legislators have been requesting briefings on this because there's really interest about it. People are coming out of the woodwork, a government official told the outlet. 3 senators, including Mark Warner, top Democrat on the Intelligence Committee, were reportedly briefed on Wednesday about encounters members of the Navy had with unidentified aircraft. If Navy pilots are running into unexplained interference in the air, Warner spokesman said, that's a safety concern. That's more than a safety concern. There could be little insect aliens in there that are posing as angels. It's the dream I had. A weird dream, right? But a fun show, nonetheless. It's something that we should be, maybe looking into a little bit. I don't know why the mainstream news is not carrying. I mean, the fact that, look, there's a while ago that you mentioned a UFO, you're like, you're a goofball. Now you got members of the intelligence committee demanding briefings. Trump doesn't believe it, though. He believes a lot of things. He knows Alex Jones. He doesn't believe aliens. I don't know. Pentagon gives classified briefings to Congress about this unexplained encounter. Many encounters they had in just 1 year's time between like March 2014 and 2015. Is everybody having fun? Is everybody having fun? Should I turn on some music? Turn on some music too. Okay, so now why wouldn't there be a question that I'd be asking, right? Why wouldn't I say disclosure or disinformation? Why? What is going on? Are we being set up to be lied to, or are we slowly but surely being made aware because they know the time is short and they know that our overlords are on the way? Just like in that movie Captive State, the bugs. The bugs, by the way, in this movie, it's not really a spoiler alert, but they basically take all the natural resources and their crafts, which I think are interesting, look just like asteroids. Remember Oumuamua, the visitor from afar arriving first, and then we had the intergalaxy visitor, the one that came from another galaxy. It's so strange, right? And catapulted around the sun like a craft. You had astronomers and professors. You had a very high ranking, I think even from not from Oxford, but from Harvard, had said that this is an alien craft, without a shadow of a doubt. And a probe, if you will. And we've had more than just one. We've had a lot. Got a lot of asteroids coming in. We got a lot of stuff. You know, the story about Nibiru, Planet 9, and all this stuff is legit, right? If there is, every 3,600 years or whatever, they'd be returning, coming down here and, getting all the gold. As the story goes. You should watch my videos on that stuff. I don't have time to go into it. It's a strange idea, but, there are a lot of strange ideas out there. One thing is Joe Rogan. I mean, I watched this a couple of days ago. I watched Duncan, I guess Trussell. I don't know who he is. Joe is friends with him, and the two of them just got really, 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 really wasted and just had a good time, and were enjoying the fact that so many people were watching them, as wasted as they were, just talking about things. And I got to tell you, good for them, right? What I didn't like, and this is, I try to keep up with all of the major players in the world of YouTube. What I didn't like, and I was going to do a show about this, was the show started with Joe Rogan basically making fun of anybody who believes in, we'll say, like the resurrected Christ. Anybody. He says, oh, you basically believe in zombies, man. Turn on the bubble machine. Yeah, I mean, he did. He turned on the bubble machine, too. And went on this whole thing about how Jesus was a zombie and it's just ridiculous and blah, blah, blah. I don't ever really hear him. And then he went off on the Mormon faith and went on some other thing. Now, look, everybody's entitled to their opinion. I don't think that it's such a great idea for him to be mocking like a major faith, especially if he doesn't really understand it, because if the guy was on the show with me, I'd have him in a small amount of time. I'd be able to get him to say, you know what, that was very insensitive. And you're right, now that you couch it this way and you actually explain what resurrection is, and you actually explain what's right there, and you show me using the scriptures, it makes more sense. It's not a zombie thing. Oh my goodness, maybe I should start saying, teach me the truth no matter what the cost too. Because people are just lost here. They're lost in all of this illusion, if you will. But don't you think it's coincidental that here he is? He has Bob Lazar on. I think it was just yesterday or today. I don't know. So here he's talking about the Navy pilots, the Tic Tacs. And then a day later, he's got Bob Lazar on. You know Bob Lazar, right? I think Tyler over there at Secure Team, he just did like some interview with him. Tyler's gotten so big. Oh my gosh, he's gotten so big. So you have all of this stuff happening at the same exact time, and you think to yourself, man, do you think they're trying to let us in on something? Do you think they're trying to get us to, I don't know, maybe pay attention? I'll tell you what got a lot of people paying attention was what China just did. Anybody see this? China's missile test? Anybody? I'm in the chat right now. Oh, thank you, Scott. I appreciate you appreciating my work. Kathy Price, thank you. I love you all in the super chat. I appreciate it. I would also like everybody to please hit that like button. It's very important. Lorelei, I love that you love my voice. Thank you very much. Sometimes I like to just try to sound like a cartoon character. I just like to make sound that's funny. And it makes me feel good. Yeah. Okay, so Celestial Piper says, yes, watching China. What did China do? Johnny Ditto said they built my TV. Johnny, that's funny, man. China built your TV. I got a bunch of goofballs. All right, so China, here we go. UFO sighting by maybe a new missile test. There was a big UFO sighting early June. Now, here's what's weird about this. Most likely it was like those other missile tests that we've seen. They keep it on the hush-hush. They keep it on the down low. It kind of had that similar, weird, like light design, strange thing. But here's what's weird was China sent out like a cryptic text, a little tweet or something. And seeing as I can read Mandarin, I don't even know, is it Mandarin? I can't read characters. I'm just saying that. I already know what it meant though. You know what they, you know what that says right there, that caption? That caption says, do you believe in UFOs? Do you believe in UFOs? Do you believe in UFOs? Now, that could be taken a couple of different ways. The way is that, hey, we're going to shoot this thing off and everybody's going to think it's a UFO. Or this nuclear weapon is for the UFOs. Just another way of looking at it, Interesting. These are just some interesting times. So look at that thing. That is just man's destructive power. It just blows my mind. I really almost wish that we could just get along. It's like enough already with the war and the rumors of wars and all that. We got all that. How about the end? When's the end coming? And what I mean by the end is I don't mean like the end of time. I mean the end of this age that we're in. The end of a time where we have fear, and the end of a time where we have lack, the end of a time where we're worried that a terrible storm is gonna blow my house down, or there's gonna be an asteroid, it's gonna just all of these things, or alien invasion. Jacob, what do you mean? Don't be scared. You're telling us about your weird dream about aliens, and you're going on all this stuff about the orbs that are everywhere. How could I not be scared? Because I tell you, what if, in the grand scheme of things, this is all some big show, right? Did you watch my show on holograms? Who's to say that we're just not in an awesome movie? We're the stars. There's always a happy ending for the stars. Be the star, right? You're a light in the world. It's time to shine. So do you believe in UFOs? That's what the Chinese sent out. It's I gotta tell you, it's a little concerning. It's a little concerning when you start looking at all this stuff. You start thinking about that dream that I had where I texted Bear. I said, Bear, dude, I had this weird dream. Aren't you all glad that you're not my friends? I mean, you're my friends, but aren't you glad I don't have your number? Because I'd be sending you all sorts of weird texts. That's why I don't talk to many people. I only talk to a couple of people. Whoever is supposed to be in this world, I'll get to know you. If I'm supposed to see your comment, it's because you left me one, and I probably will get to it. By the way, I was talking to Marf over at Marfoogle TV. Marfoogle, Adam, he's awesome. He started watching here, and his channel's just, I think it's about to break 130. You should go over there and check him out. He's got some good stuff. He's really good with with everything. I mean, I gotta take some cues from him. He does such a great job with his show. We were talking last night about how, you can allow negative thoughts to mess you up, right? I had texted him just to see how he was doing, and I didn't get back to me. I was like, oh, I hope he's all right. And then the question becomes, like, does a negative thought come in and say, oh, he's not returning your call? What's that about? And I said, whoa. That's Leaven. That's not real. That's a lie. Get rid of that. He probably lost his phone. Turns out The dude lost his phone. It was eaten by a street sweeper. And he saw it. And I just laughed. I mean, it's terrible because all of his contacts were in there. But if you've been trying to get in touch with Adam, I guess he lost his phone. But we were talking about this last night. We're also talking about possibly getting together and maybe going around and doing some kind of a thing where we can meet all of you and talk. I used to do that. I used to go when I'd speak, talk about these things, these interesting things. So is this movie coming to life? Is this movie coming? Is this what's happening right now? Do we have to worry that we have a captive state on our hands? I don't know. I don't think so. You're only really a slave if you believe you're a slave. You're only really a slave if you believe you're a slave. Problem is, believing you're a slave is leaven. And it leavens the whole lump. It's a little thought. Like if you think that you can't get ahead, if you think that you are somehow less than, if you think that you, my friends, are just doomed to be unhappy in life, that leaven is going to mess you up. It's going to mess you up big time. So what is leaven? And why am I talking about that all of a sudden? As I'm trying to pull the music up a little bit. So I'm at the gym. This is my routine in the morning. How's everybody enjoying the show before I move on? I want to make sure everybody is enjoying, you having fun. A lot of you watching again. Thank you if you have taken the time to hit the like button. As we transition into this next part of the show, I would like to know, are you enjoying yourself? Are you having fun? Because this is where it gets this is the important part. And believe me, this leaven of the Pharisees that Jesus is talking about, it's something that's important. Okay, a lot of people are saying it's awesome, it's fantastic, it's great. Melanie, thank you. Soul Eyes, thank you. Okay, good. All right, I can move on then. I got everybody's approval. Let me just make sure that I'm not missing any. Thank you, Kathy Price. And I don't like to miss anybody. All right, so I'm at the gym. And I'm talking to John, who's a viewer. It was funny now. He's just such a nice guy. And he's been working out at my gym for like, I don't know, probably a couple of years. I knew who he was. But I didn't know that he was like watching me. Like online. He was like just watching. I guess he was a viewer. I didn't even know. He had never really come up to me and said anything. And I was so taken back when he finally did. I've noticed that lately I've been getting a lot of people, someone even saw me on the street right when I was going into work. It's incredibly wonderful and beautiful. And it was very cool thing. So John's a nice guy. Now we've become, every time I see him at the gym, we'll share little interesting tidbits of information. He'll ask me a question, I'll ask him a question. And today he had said, what do you make of all this nonsense going on with the, he's going to order it, he's going to pull it back. You all know what I'm talking about. I'm trying to stay away from the algorithms that pick up on this kind of talk. And I said, beware the leaven of the Pharisees, or something like that. And I don't even know why I said it. It was just such a weird thing. Because like when he presented it to me, I thought to myself, wow, that sounds a lot like leaven. Now what is leaven? Okay, so yeast. You know what yeast? Anybody cook here? Hang on a second. Let me see. I think I pulled up some stuff that I can show you here. Okay, yeast. Here we go. Okay, so using yeast for leavening. Yeast is one of the most common leavening agents used to make bread rise. You put it in. Now yeast is a fungus. It's a fungus. You only need a little teeny bit. You add it to something and it just, and it does its thing and it, right? So yeast, leaven is another name for it in the Bible. It's used to, it compares two things. The kingdom of God, which is, you know what, let me see if I can do this. Let me pull this over. I think I pulled this up. Yes, I did. Perfect. All right. So, hopefully I'm transitioned over and you can see me okay. Here we go. Another parable, he spoke to them. The kingdom of God is like leaven, which woman took and hid. Notice it's hid. Okay? So, it's like leaven, but whatever it is, it's hid within 3 measures of meal till the whole was leavened. In other words, the kingdom of heaven is hidden within you, and it's going to eventually do what it's supposed to do. But this in particular is the passage that I want to focus on. Let me just come on over here one more time. Yes. Okay. I'm going to pull up the whole chapter. By the way, this is Bible Gateway. I don't know if you've ever, it's a search engine. I use this one. It's just the easiest for me to use. It's the easiest. Okay, so here's the thing. We've talked about temptation just a little while ago. Remember, Pope said that God would never tempt us, even though we know that God's Spirit led Jesus to be tempted. Okay, Pope. Right? All right. So the Pharisees and the Sadducees came. These are just 2 different sects of people, believe in 2 different ways, seeing things 2 different. Yeah, it's like different. Imagine 2 different denominations. Okay, some are a little heavier involved in the politics of things, and the others are a little more into legal matters. And tempting desired him, and they're talking about Jesus, that he would show him a sign from heaven. And he said, when the evening, you say it'll be when the sky's red, it'll be good weather, right? So at night, when you see it's like you know tomorrow's going to be a good day. So you see the sign, you understand it. In the morning, it'll be foul weather for the sky's red and lowering. You say, okay, you can discern the face of the sky, but why can't you discern the sign of the times? In other words, he's saying, like, look, all you got to do is read the environment, people. Read it. Look at what's going on. Look at the weather. What's the weather like politically? You know, what's the climate? What's the climate on YouTube right now? What are people talking about? What's going on? What's happening? That's the if you can discern that, you should know what's going on. The problem is people aren't discerning that, but yeah, they can understand when it's going to be a bad day. And see, the thing is, they were asking for like a sign, like, you know, just do something for us. And Jesus says, look, a wicked and adulterous generation, they seek after a sign like that. But there's no sign that will be given but the sign of the prophet Jonas. Now, Jonah, by the way, was meant to do something. He decided he wasn't going to do it because he didn't want to tell people what he was supposed to tell people, so he went the other way. He ended up swallowed up by a gigantic fish and then vomited out on the shore, and he ends up doing it. And the sign is, that's the thing, that something will be buried for 3 days. Now notice there is a connection here to what is buried and hid as leaven in the meal. So when the disciples came to the other side, they'd forgotten to take bread. Okay, this is important spiritually speaking because bread is very symbolic. And what is bread? It is physical nourishment. They came to the other side because he was moving from one side to another. So they came to the other side of understanding. They finally crossed over, right? But they'd forgotten to take bread. They'd forgotten to be nourished by what their bodies were going to be weak. They weren't ready. And then Jesus said, take heed and beware of the leaven of the Pharisees. And they reasoned among themselves and they said, it's because we don't have any bread, right? It's because we don't have any bread. Meanwhile, he wasn't talking about literal bread. And when he understood this, he said, oh, you guys are such meatheads. You guys are such goofballs. Why are you reasoning among yourselves? Because you have no bread? You think that's what I'm talking about? Don't you understand? Don't you remember the 5 loaves of the 5,000? How many baskets did you take up? Neither the 7 loaves of the 4,000. How many baskets? You know, he's basically telling them, it's like, we've never had a need before. You think I'm talking about physical need here? How is it that you don't understand? I'm speaking to you concerning bread, that you should beware of the leaven of the Pharisees and Sadducees. Then they understood that it was the doctrine. It was what they were teaching. It was what they were saying. It was what they were proclaiming. Now here, if you go back to the top, you understand what was happening here is, you understand the signs. Over here, they didn't understand nothing. Ignorant generation of people. Ignorant generation of people. That's what Jesus was dealing with, was people that just couldn't get outside of their 5 senses. All right, I'm going somewhere with this. There are 5 senses. The 5 senses are your sight, your sound, your nose, right? Your taste, your feel. You know what I mean? The 5. some would go so far as to say these are the wounds. These are the wounds of Christ. Because what it does is it takes you out of the spirit and it just makes you a slave to the natural, to the physical, to the temporal. To all of this that you see, it's all going to pass away. But there is something that is greater, far greater, that is within you, that is so great that when you go to sleep at night and you check out and your reality goes away, next thing you know, you are like in some kind of a virtual reality world where you can experience things like emotion, sight, sound, smell, taste, everything. And I dream in color. My goodness gracious. See those ornamental angels coming down, turning into the orbs. Who created that? Where did that come from? Maybe more of the idea that this is all just a simulation. We're in some kind of a hologram, which once again, it shouldn't detract you from the idea that you're more and that there is a infinitely greater creator and architect of all of this that we are connected to. Yeast is a fungus. Yeast is used to leaven the loaf. Yeast is used to puff people up. Now, why is this important? Jesus is saying, beware the leaven. Okay, I'm saying beware the leaven. I'm saying you got to be careful. Like when John came up to me and he says, what do you think about this, and this? It's like we're going to get all puffed up. We're going to get all puffed up with, fear, and we're going to get all puffed up with dread, and we're going to get all puffed up with pride, and we're going to get all puffed up with ego and with hate and with animosity, and we're going to all get puffed up from the leaven of the Pharisees and the Sadducees. We're brainwashed, conditioned, we're handled. But if you don't focus on the leaven so much and you don't take it in, because if you take it in and you believe it, like if you came onto this show and I was telling you the government is hiding something, there's a reason why there are some crazy lights on the moon, did a show on that. There's a reason why we're getting these mysterious signals. There's a reason why you hear these mysterious booms. The bugs are underneath the ground. They're tunneling like that movie, Captive State. If I said all that, that would be leaven from me. But see, what do I know? All I know is that it's better to love than to hate, and that my thoughts create. And what I mean by that is my judgment will create my reality. Just like when I was talking on the phone with Adam, like if I had believed, like so many people believe, the worst. You text somebody, you text a friend, they don't get back to you. Next thing you know, you're like imagining they don't like you anymore. Or you have somebody who's supposed to show up, at a certain time and then they're late and your mind goes to the worst. Yeah, Noah's going in. We went to his, by the way, his procedure. He's going in for this thing where they're going to be putting all these things into his heart in all different directions. Scary stuff. But if I think the worst, I don't know what the future holds, but I do know that we can influence. Because everything in Scripture, just so you know, a lot of people don't know this, everything was given to the Son, by the Son, for the Son. The Son, through the Son, everything that you see, there's nothing that you see that wasn't made through the Son. In other words, everything you're looking at here, an intelligent mind created. So, who's to say that we can't, with just belief? Like if I say, I imagine my wall, it's going to be so nice, it's going to be a different color. Next thing you know, I paint it. Was it the belief that created it? Was it the faith that it could be that? And then I had faith that I needed to then paint it so that it could then be manifest in this world? Or could you say to a sycamore tree, be thou cast into the sea, and it'll obey? Could you believe that maybe there won't be some crazy war? Yeah, they were asking me why I wasn't talking about that place I ran. They were asking me, why are you talking about it? It's because, you know what? I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about World War. I don't want to talk about that because, you know what? I would rather use this for what's really important, getting everybody ready for what's really important, which has nothing to do with that in the grand scheme of things. By the way, be prepared. I just got like a water filter. I don't sell them. I just got, I have food. I have water. Be prepared. You should always be prepared because you never know what's going to happen. But that being said, the best preparation you could have is putting your trust in God. And it's It's a sad day if you are just putting your faith in man, because man is going to disappoint you every time. Man is developing weapons of terrible, terrible mass destruction. Man is pretty cruel. Carnal mankind is pretty much is opposed to all of the things of God, which is God is love. And people get so hung up in stuff. You know why? Because they're listening to the leaven of the Pharisees. That's the whole problem. Let me move this over and let me pull something else up for you here. Leaven is it's a big deal, but let me take a look at something that I think is a little bit more interesting for you to look at. Okay, you see this right here in Exodus? You shall eat nothing leavened. In all your habitations shall you eat unleavened bread. Okay, a lot of people, here's a little, if you ever went to church, you ever get that little wafer, right? That's supposed to be unleavened bread. You ever go to, you go to the synagogue, it is unleavened bread. You ever matzah, it's unleavened bread, okay? So all this stuff, there's a reason why people eat it. It's because in scriptures, they say, don't eat it. Don't eat anything with leaven. Don't eat anything that's filled with a fungus that is going to puff you up and influence everything about you so that you can't see clearly, think clearly. Don't listen to the leaven. It's not because you don't have bread. You don't got to worry about bread. Okay? It's not about that. Bread is once again symbolic of spiritual insight. It's symbolic of understanding. It's symbolic of in the wilderness when Israel was for 40 years traveling around in circles in this desert, which you could have crossed in a much shorter period of time. They didn't know what they were going to eat, and the manna appeared. They didn't even know what it was. That's what they called it. I think it was like manna means I don't know what it is or something, like we don't even know what it is. But it was bread, and it came from heaven. Just like I don't try to understand what things are. I just say, oh, what does this mean? What should I talk about today? I actually asked John at the gym. I wish he was here. It'd be cool if he was in the chat. I said, what should I talk about today? And he goes, well, what do you think about all this stuff? And I go, beware the leaven. I didn't even think about doing. And then, ironically, I go to work out, and I like to listen to the Bible experience when I work out sometimes because I feel like I can feed myself. And I don't just mean the scriptures, because I listen to a lot of stuff. I try to learn when other people may just listen to music. I like music too. I also like to work out my brain. And it's fun to do that. And I thought it was ironic that today, of all days, I'm listening to the same thing that he just brought out. I say, don't beware of the leaven of the Pharisees. And next thing you know, I'm listening to the Bible, and they're talking about it. So I'm like, yeah, I guess I got to tell everybody. You got to beware. You got to be careful. Don't get so stressed out. Don't be too focused on what you're hearing on a regular basis. Don't be too stressed out. Understand that there is a bigger picture, and all you got to do to find a bigger picture is go to the bigger source. And the bigger source is not outside of you. It's not me. It's it's in you. And it's everywhere. All you got to do is say, teach me the truth no matter what the cost. And it's not like a slogan or a prayer. It's not like the sinner's prayer. Like, that's the thing. When I went into Christian TV, because I was if you're new to the channel, I was like the head writer of the Daystar Television Network, big Christian network. And they were big on the sinner's prayer, which is you say a prayer, you're immediately saved. And then most of the people go on living miserable lives, and a lot of them end up doing horrible things. And so really, what are they saved from? Oh, they're saved from it's at the end. It's at the end when you die, right? You're not gonna burn endlessly. I got a video on hell. You want to find out what hell is? Want to find out what the lake of fire is? Go watch my video on it. Hell Revealed. You want to learn about these things? Pick up the Bible and just read. You can even go to Bible Gateway. Don't listen to what people tell you just because it was told to you, right? What did Jesus say? The time was going to come where the axe was going to be laid to the root. They've leavened everybody. Everybody believes the lie, right? Everybody believes in a God that is, oh God, so horrible, right? You do as I say or else. A God that loves you so much. A God that the scriptures say You know how to give good gifts unto your children. If your child asks for an egg, will he give you a scorpion? If he asks for bread, will he give you a stone? You are evil. How much better is God? You don't think that all the things you're going through are there for a reason? You don't think that you're suffering for a reason because you're too pig-headed to freaking grow up and just say, hey, I need to just accept things as they are and do better. I need to not continue down the same rabbit trail that leads me in an argument with a friend or an argument with a spouse or an argument with my children. I need to find a different way to do things. I need to be forgiving. I need to understand that perhaps when someone needs something, I'm not too busy, that my job here is literally to serve, because the greatest person is the one that serves. Who's greater? Jesus said. He says, the master at the table? Who's the greatest? The one that's just saying, taking, or the one that's serving? I'm hopefully serving to you. I'm not a taker. I don't need to take anything from you. I'm here to hopefully give. And the message today, it's always, by the way, if you're new to the channel, all of the stuff that I talk about, it's always to get you to another place. And I think today people need to understand that the leaven of the Pharisees, it's everywhere. It's online, it's in your favorite podcasts, it's in your churches, it's in your mosques, in your synagogues, it's everywhere. It's in your schools, it's everywhere. It's leaven. It's all been leaven. But the good news is, if you stop eating leavened bread, you get what I'm saying? Stop thinking things that puff you up and make you feel like you're better than another, and start becoming humble and start seeking to do good in this world and start seeking more. Because salvation, my friends, let's see, you know what? Hey, let's see. Let's type in, let's see something here. Give me a sec if I can do this. I'm just going to look something up. So to be saved from something is to be delivered from it, right? So it's one of those pictures where if you're in the water and you could swim, it's usually good to pray and then swim to the shore. You always hear that, right? The story of the guy who waited like a boat came by, a helicopter came by, and was like waiting for God to deliver him the whole time. Like all these things were there. There are all these instances where we're given these chances to take the life raft and to be delivered out of our suffering. Because there always comes a time when all the dust is settled, when you hear that small voice, when you start to say, maybe it's time for me to live a more righteous life, a more holy life. Maybe it's time for me to be saved, to understand what salvation is. You want to know what salvation is? Ask. Don't ask me. Don't ask your pastor, your priest, your imam. Don't ask. We are all connected to the same infinite being. We are all created in the image of this. My goodness gracious. Ask, seek, and find, knock. The door is open for you. Look, they say in the land of the dead that it's impossible to know God. The dead know not God. So dead, and let's type in God. Let me see if I can look this up. Pull this passage up. There's a passage that says the dead know not God. It's an impossibility when you're dead, but that's why you need to come back to life, right? To be born again into the idea of who you really are. There was the first man, Adam, who brought death in the world. There was the last Adam who brought life into the world. There was the killer, and then there was the shepherd. There was Cain, the firstborn, was a killer. The secondborn, Abel, was a shepherd. The born-again man is always the shepherd. Okay? There was Ishmael, the firstborn, was a hunter. Abraham's son was a slave. He was a hunter. He was a killer. There was Isaac. Isaac was a shepherd. Secondborn, shepherd. All over the scriptures, you have these pictures of firstborn, secondborn. You have Jacob and you have Esau. The older brother, Esau, he was a hunter. He was hairy all over, symbolic of being very carnal, very much in this world. Jacob, he was not very hairy. He was a smooth man, very spiritual. The secondborn, Jacob, he inherits the promise. Rachel and Leah, right? Just like earlier, Rachel's new to the channel with the big holy cack, right? Holy mackerel. Rachel was the second born. Leah, her older sister, had poor eyesight. She was the one that Jacob ended up getting, he got tricked into marrying. Like I got tricked into marrying the idea of Christian TV. And with it came a bunch of nonsense. But I have now begun to eat unleavened bread, and I'm not really worried about the leaven of the Pharisees, and I hope neither are you. So, as we get out of here, I would like to tell you how much I love you, how much I appreciate you. I hope you do. Look, if you haven't subscribed yet, just subscribe. It's a cool thing to do. You'll like the shows, I promise. Tell your friends, share it around, and I guess, the next time we see each other, it'll be, let me pull up some music here. It'll probably be maybe a couple of days. I appreciate all the prayers for Noah, by the way. That was very cool of a lot of you. There we go. There's my music. It's not my music. It's Kevin Macleod's music. I just love it because I think that it's filled with life. I'm going to say goodbye to everybody in the chat room. And thank you for coming. Watch out for the UFOs. Watch out for the insects in the orbs that are waiting to blow everything up. Oh my goodness, a lot of people in the super chat. Thank you, Jennifer Sweet. I always enjoy seeing you, and I like that I help you think. Thank you, Timothy, very much. I appreciate it. And Anthony and Amber and all of you out there. Lee and Tina and Wade, everybody. Wade's guy is a cool musician. You got to check out his music. Everybody, thank you. And I'll talk to you soon. Don't forget to buckle up. Have faith. Spend a little more time loving and a little less time fearing. Maybe collectively we can make this world a better place. Because remember, it's not, even though a lot of people are talking about desolation and just bad stuff, great things come out of bad things. Hold out hope for that. Put on that breastplate and that salvation and that hope and the helmet and the sword of righteousness, because the days are coming when you're going to need it. I love you guys, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.